The movie starts with a beautiful scene of a small boat sailing gracefully on the wide ocean. Inside the boat, we meet a young man named William, who is quietly looking out of the window. When the camera gets closer, we notice his unique facial features that make him stand out. Then the story moves to a classroom where Professor Julian Reed is giving a lecture about Neanderthals, ancient humans who are now extinct. The professor talks in a way that seems like he thinks Neanderthals were not smart and were like wild people. He talks about a time when people believed you could tell how civilized or smart someone was just by looking at them, like in the days of Charles Darwin and Sir Francis Galton. Professor Reed shares something interesting. The only remains of a Neanderthal that aren't just bones were found right on their campus by his boss named Godwin Thomas. They named these remains William after a guy named William King, who was an Irish scientist and the first person to say that Neanderthals were their own kind of human. As the professor wraps up his lecture, he presents a captivating concept, using William's DNA to clone a living Neanderthal. This idea grabs the attention of Barbara Sullivan, a medical doctor specializing in reproductive endocrinology who had been in attendance. Later that evening, she meets the professor at a restaurant to explore the potential of this ambitious endeavor. Recognizing the complexities of cloning, she acknowledges its challenges while remaining intrigued by its feasibility. Inquisitive, she queries the professor about his fascination with Neanderthals. In response, he guides her to his laboratory and exhibits two stone artifacts, one crafted by Homo sapiens, the other by a Neanderthal. He posits that reviving our closest evolutionary relative could unlock invaluable insights into our own ancestry. With the university's approval, Barbara and Julian embark on their audacious journey to clone a Neanderthal. Over the course of numerous years, this pursuit evolves into a focal point of intense debate within the university circles, stirring up ethical dilemmas regarding the financing of human cloning ventures. Eventually, the controversy reaches its climax with University President Bob Claiborne opting to terminate the project. This verdict lands as a devastating blow to Barbara and Julian, who have poured their utmost dedication into the endeavor. Unfazed, Barbara proposes to persist with the project despite the university's decree. When Julian queries about a surrogate, Barbara courageously volunteers herself. The couple makes the decision to wed in Nevada amidst the tumult. Several months later, Barbara goes into labor and delivers a robust baby boy. However, the nurses are taken aback by the infant's unconventional appearance. Witnessing baby William for the first time, Julian hurries back to the university to inform Bob of the successful birth of a Neanderthal. Initially, Bob's anger flares at Julian for his covert actions, prompting him to convene a meeting to explore legal ramifications and the possibility of Julian's termination. However, amidst deliberations with his colleagues, Bob experiences a change of heart. He realizes the university could be liable for permitting the project's progression and discerns the potential for positive publicity if they embrace it. A week later, the university hosts a press conference where Julian proudly showcases images of William, the world's first Neanderthal baby born in contemporary times. Despite clarifying that William is not biologically linked to him or Barbara, Julian expresses his deep sense of pride in assuming a paternal role for the child. The story then moves to William, who is now 18 years old, getting off the ferry boat with Barbara. They drive to a quiet house nestled in the forest near a river. After a warm goodbye, Barbara tells him he can always come back home. William goes into the house where he'll live with his father. He notices a stone from Neanderthal times displayed inside. When he steps onto the balcony, a couple in a canoe sees him and looks surprised. Soon after, a lady named Sarah comes and says hello as Julian's new girlfriend. That evening, the three of them have dinner together. Sarah says William eats a lot, and Julian explains it's because William has a bigger body and faster metabolism, so he needs 20% more food than most people. After dinner, Julian engages in a heartfelt conversation with his son, expressing admiration for William's dedication to learning and self-improvement. Julian and Sarah make efforts to teach William the basics of English, aiming to familiarize him with the intricacies of the language. Despite their best attempts, William finds it challenging to grasp humor and metaphors. In a subsequent university lecture, Julian delves into the initial public reaction to William's introduction and their disappointment at his failure to conform to their expectations of savagery. Julian proudly declares that William has achieved intelligence on par with or surpassing that of Homo sapiens. Additionally, Julian highlights William's resilient and adaptable immune system, suggesting its potential to drive breakthroughs in medical research. In subsequent scenes, the reasons behind Julian and Barbara's divorce come to light. Julian's rigid adherence to scientific protocols led him to treat their son, William, as a mere test subject, essentially subjecting him to lab experimentation. Barbara vehemently opposed this approach, seeing the lab environment as a confining cage unsuitable for a human being. Over time, Barbara gains custody of William and brings him to live with her. Julian continues to visit regularly, overseeing William's education, interactions with other children, and adjustment to the new environment. Despite the divorce, Julian dedicates personal time to nurturing the bond between himself and his son, ensuring their relationship remains strong. Some years later, while cycling through the woods, William encounters a group of teenagers his age who taunt and pursue him. Surprisingly, William demonstrates extraordinary strength and skill, effortlessly thwarting the bullies. Despite the bullies' parents filing a complaint, the authorities dismiss it without much consideration. Concerned about William's actions, Barbara cautions him against resorting to violence. Intrigued by his own identity, William delves into late-night online searches about Neanderthals, stumbling upon descriptions portraying them as primitive and savage beings. This discovery adds to his already mounting confusion and internal turmoil. During a casual game of catch, Barbara introduces her new boyfriend, Ted Roper, to the family. This introduction triggers feelings of jealousy in Julian, causing him to withdraw and become more distant. Years later, while in college, William faces a challenge when his Neanderthal-like strength causes him to break his pencil during a test. After the exam, a girl named Judy invites William to her house to help her study and practice for an upcoming opera play. However, his friends remind him of their planned camping trip, so he declines but promises to assist Judy later. During the camping trip, William and his friends encounter two hippies who join them around the fire. Upon learning of William's Neanderthal heritage, they are both shocked and fascinated. The girl asks William if he ever wishes he could return to his own time, and he admits that he does. In the next scene, William returns to the university and assists Judy with her lines before their performance in front of a live audience that night. As the play concludes, they share a kiss. However, when William attempts to prolong the moment, Judy rejects him, leaving him feeling rejected and confused. In another place, Barbara and Julian found themselves in a meeting, addressing the challenges William encountered with standardized tests and his unique thinking patterns that didn't fit into conventional molds. They floated the idea of intensive tutoring for William to enhance his chances of college reapplication. However, Julian's shock and anger erupted when he learned that Barbara had withdrawn William's college application without consulting him. This ignited a heated argument between the two about what path was best for William's future. Barbara suggested William should consider a part-time job on the island after graduation, while Julian pushed for him to explore the world by living with him. Ultimately, the decision rested with William himself, who would soon turn 18. Meanwhile, William walked along the beach with his friends, who discussed their college acceptances and the universities they had been admitted to. Judy's plans to attend Columbia University are mentioned, but William's own future remains uncertain. He meets with his parents to discuss their expectations. Barbara disagrees with Julian's suggestion that William should go to university and return to his lab, but Julian believes that William's immune system could hold the key to helping millions of people. After careful consideration, William decides to pursue university, but he insists on earning his place as a student without any special treatment. Julian is thrilled and suggests that William live with him to prepare for the college entrance examination. Fast forward to the present day, Julian is shocked by the minimal improvement in William's test results. He becomes angry at Sarah for not providing adequate instruction, angrily flinging the paper at William's face before leaving the house without a word. However, tears cascade down William's face. Sarah endeavors to console him, affirming that his scores are indeed impressive. She leads him on a tranquil stroll through the forest, sharing anecdotes from her own life about parental expectations similar to William's current situation. Sarah aims to elevate his mood by exploring various topics, including William's fervor for singing. As their walk progresses, it blossoms into a romantic interlude with William initiating a kiss, which Sarah reciprocates tenderly. Later in the evening, Sarah carefully arranges flowers in a vase gifted by William. Their intimate moment is abruptly interrupted by Julian's arrival, questioning their absence and William's neglect of studying. William retreats to his room, clutching the ancestral stone to his chest as he drifts into slumber. On the following morning, Sarah drives William to his university entrance exam. However, during the test, William faces a familiar setback as his pencil snaps once again. Observing that the other students are unaffected, he attempts a second pencil, only to encounter another immediate break. Disheartened, he chooses to exit the examination room. As he roams through the town, onlookers gawk and chuckle at his appearance. Seeking solace, William visits Godwin at the university. Godwin guides him to the preserved remains from which he was cloned. Upon thorough examination, William concludes that the preserved Neanderthal seems out of place, echoing his own sense of displacement. Shortly after, Sarah reaches out to Barbara, notifying her of William's disappearance post-exam and his unresponsiveness to phone calls. Amidst these unfolding events, William successfully infiltrates one of Julian's academic lectures. Seating himself inconspicuously in the crowd, he is startled to hear his father discussing Neanderthals and using William's picture as a reference. Julian paints a harsh picture of William, depicting him as an unintelligent brute, a grunting savage, and a primitive caveman. This portrayal deeply hurts William, prompting him to abruptly stand up and confront Julian. However, Julian defends himself, stating that he was merely carrying out his professional duties. In response, William declares Julian's work a failure, but Julian counters, harshly asserting that, among all things, it is William who has turned out to be a failure. Stunned by this bitter exchange, William quickly leaves the lecture hall. Julian follows him outside, attempting to apologize and suggesting they discuss the matter at home. Despite Julian's efforts, William adamantly refuses and boldly declares that Julian is not his father. This statement prompts Julian to slap him. Julian makes another attempt to apologize and urges him to calm down. But in the chaos, William drops a Neanderthal stone he had been carrying. Julian tries to retrieve it, but in a moment of regrettable anger, William strikes him with it. The incident attracts attention, with students filming the scene and labeling William as a caveman. Overwhelmed and terrified, William flees the scene, hastily leaving the university premises. In another part of the area, Sarah and Barbara continue their search, with police accompanying them in the vicinity. William exits the university, immediately drawing the attention of the police. Flashbacks of William's childhood, including a troubling incident where he was attacked, are woven into the scene. Sarah notices William encircled by the police and tries to reach him, but she is held back by law enforcement officers. The focus then shifts to William, who appears to have made a solemn decision to join his ancestors in the afterlife. As the movie concludes, we see Sarah visiting the archaeological excavation site where the Neanderthal, from whom William was cloned, was discovered. Accompanying her is a young child, likely William's offspring, symbolizing the continuation of his legacy. Thanks for tuning in, guys.